Howdy y'all, I got to go to the Switch 2 event that was in Dallas. I was lucky enough to get my name drawn from the lottery that they had a little while back, and seeing that they were doing one in my home state, I just had to try to go. But I recorded some videos, so I want to share my thoughts. Now this isn't going to be a full overview of the event. If you want one of those kind of videos, I would highly recommend Bob Wolf's video over on Wolf Den. He went to the one in New York, but it was a very similar experience, and he gives a very in-depth review of that.
Back for the Switch 2 event?
But they gave us these lanyards with a little badge and a gameplay passport, and also a little wristband. Now, even though the games are cool, the things I was actually most excited to see about were hardware based. What I really wanted to see was how that GameCube controller looked and felt, and how mouse mode works. One of the first things I got to see was the GameCube controller, and it's very interesting to see what Nintendo is doing with that, making it a wireless one this time. And also the changes compared to the actual original GameCube controller. So the original GameCube controller didn't have an L1, R1, and an L2 and R2. It only really has an L and an R, and then what the bumper would have been is a Z. Now granted, modern controllers have bumpers here as well as triggers, so they had to do something. And a lot of third-party manufacturers went and just basically replicated the Z button over here to give yourself bumpers, but Nintendo didn't do that. Instead, all of your extra buttons are going to be on top of the controller, and the left bumper almost seems not existent, but it's there. It's very interesting seeing that now compared to like some of these third-party options and their take on the GameCube controller. This particular one is a Power A one I got for the original Switch back in the day. And feeling this one in my hand after feeling the other one, this is significantly lighter. In fact, I would say that it's actually slightly heavier than an original GameCube controller, but I mean, that makes sense. They had to make it wireless and also fit a battery in there. But overall, that one's still pretty comfortable to hold and use, and it feels like using a normal GameCube controller. Now realizing I also need to clean this controller. Now the new Joy-Cons also were very interesting. I was very surprised by how strong the magnets are, and I did try pulling them off without actually pressing the button to dislodge them, and yeah, it actually is pretty difficult, so I'm not really concerned about it kind of dislodging, at least when I don't want it to. Also, the material on the Joy-Cons themselves is interesting, so they were like wiping down all of the Joy-Cons with Lysol wipes after everybody was using them, and you could kind of see like the difference in moisture on them a little bit as they were drying. And at first I thought it was kind of like stained, but no, it was just how the plastic's made. Trying out the mouse mode stuff was really neat. Being able to try Metroid Prime 4 with mouse controls on a Nintendo console is something I didn't think I'd ever say. But as someone who plays a lot of FPSs on PC, like Halo, I was actually really surprised how good the tracking was, and how natural it felt kind of holding the Joy-Con like a mouse. Granted, developers are going to have to code that into their games in order to get mouse support to work, but oh, I would love to see more games have mouse support on the Switch too. Especially some of those older ones like the boomer shooters. Hopefully we'll see some devs go back and enhance their games for, I guess, better graphics, but mostly I want that mouse control. The mice do need feet though, so they magnetically attach to that little feet adapter that lets you kind of move it around smoothly. It's got me really excited to see what people in the homebrew and peripheral community is going to do with this thing. Because just having like a mouse that you can attach to your Switch and then detach and have it around, it's kind of like having your own mobile mouse. And one that's a bit of a slimmer profile. Kind of like that PC card slot mouse I was looking at a little bit back. This is what I want to see. Mice that go in or attach to the devices you use. But if you want to know how it felt using the mouse, well, it's kind of similar if you just take a normal Joy-Con and just move it around like that. And having the face buttons on the side be thumb buttons for like a mouse works really well. One thing that was a little weird though was the primary click was the trigger, which makes sense, but also when you hold a mouse, left click is primary and secondary is right, but it's kind of inverted here. I still kind of found myself using my index finger though to click that. I guess I could get used to like that, but that's kind of weird. And I was kind of surprised to see how natural it felt to be looking around with a mouse and moving around with a joystick, kind of like this. I think I'm going to use mouse mode a lot. I kind of do want to pick up the camera just to see if I can mess around with it and see what it can do. It has a huge field of view. And game-wise, yeah, I liked what was there, but I was really more so there for the hardware. I was able to get through all of the games on my passport though. I got to try Donkey Kong Bonanza, the Mario Kart, the Battle Royale mode is fun. I did the new Mario Party enhancements, did the GameCube emulation, tried out that one basketball games where you have to go like this in order to move yourself around. That was kind of difficult, but really neat use of both Joy-Cons as mice. I did that Welcome Tour demo, which had some cool stuff in it, but it should not be $10. It should be a pack-in title. And as soon as I got into the game section, since everybody was kind of flocking to those Nintendo staple games, I did notice in the back they had a mature section. It's funny, they kind of had it fenced and blocked off, so I guess kids couldn't see it. The games they had there were Cyberpunk and Yakuza 0. The demo for that one dropped me in Kamurocho, and I beelined it straight to karaoke to play Baka Mitai. It was pretty funny though, hearing from the person that was running the demo to immediately ask me, wait, is this that Dame Dane song? But overall, it was a nice little event. And I also got this sick bag. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised by the quality of this thing. It's really nice. What's kind of weird is I don't really feel like it's designed for the Switch 2. It's more like a big laptop bag. But like, hey, I'll take it. This thing's nice. They did have to cut up my little wristband on the way out though if I wanted the bag. Guess they didn't want me like reselling this or whatever, but I liked this. Oh well, at least it still says Dallas. Oh, and speaking of boomer shooters, since I was in Dallas for the day and I've been doing a lot of time reading about the development of Doom, I decided to go and check out the outside of the building that they developed Doom in back in 1993. But that'll be it for now. So long, y'all.